Hey, welcome back. We're back to Objective 2, and this will be a little cleanup session. Also, I just realized wanted to fix this for the problem that we encounter during the Objective 2. So let's jump right into it. Let me launch my Unity. The Explorer's is lagging a little bit. Yeah, so the problem was one of the problem we saw earlier is the item teleporting back and forth. And what I thought was interpolator's problem, and or the rigid body's problem. In which case it is. It is the rigid body problem, but it's not what I thought it was. So when we're interpolating the rigid body, I'm surprised I'm glanced over one of these factors, which is the velocity. When I move the position, the velocity still persists, and that's why right between different snapshot where the physics still run its course, the the object will try to move in the same direction which is used to fly into, and that's why we saw the teleportation problem, which is interesting. And so I haven't touched anything. Let's try that. Um, So if we have that fixed, that means we don't need the kinematic mechanics anymore. We can just comment out this one and also this one as well. For which case we're going to change this to disable simulation instead. I mean enable in this case. Enable and disable. We're gonna test it. We're gonna add this later after we fix the problem. So now we'll reverse to when the object will be simulated, regardless if it's local or non-local. And let's see what happened here. Yeah. So the problem interpolation. Since this is an interpolation or rigid body, so it should concern that the object is interpolating is the rigid body. So it's fully justifiable if I just like do velocity equals to vector 0. What would actually, should we set this to 0 instead? Because yeah, let's set this to 0. Let's make sure that the interpolator would take full control of the RB, and then it won't tries to run physics on top of the interpolations. Alright, so when it's still interpolating, when interpolating rotation, position, so we just need to set zero out the velocity. I don't think there's any other attributes we needed. Oh, wait, we need to zero out the angular velocity as well. angular velocity equals 0. This is okay, it's a float. It's using velocity, so I thought it was like a vector or some kind. Okay, it should work. I'm working offline. Now what we'll be seeing is when we toss the item around, it shouldn't like jump back and forth again. Okay. Um, yeah. Yep. It doesn't do that anymore. It's just interpolating things and not trying to run its own velocity. Yeah. It's kind of like kinematic, but with the collision. Um, let's run it again with 2 clients just to make sure that both players are still colliding with each other without fully being um, local authoritative, if that makes sense. Ready, ready. Okay, I could push the player now. It's just not ever slightly, but it's better than the kinematic where it just stuck in place. It's like a statue. And the same happened to others too. I could try to move it. Yeah. So that was fixed. And I do think of another thing though. Uh, back in original Haven, where I used the same mechanics on the AI, and I will be able to move the AI locally, but not how should I say it? It's probably better if we were just to synchronize the velocity as well instead of just zero out the number. Let's try adding the velocity in the equation and see oh if let's see if that works. Mm. Hold on. Wait, what the one I used before was not interpolation, was it? What I was using on the AI was I didn't interpolate, but what I did was synchronizing the the position, velocity, angular velocity, not angular velocity, rotations. And would that be applicable to? So in that case, we probably don't even need the interpolations. Hmm, that's interesting. We probably need to use the. Yeah, I'm thinking perhaps instead of this, maybe what we should do is that we don't use the interpolator rigid body. Let's move on to the next thing we already think of, and let's keep a notes of what we think about, thought about. Sinking, no interpolation, sinking, velocity, position, rotation. Right. For this one, we definitely need to change this one. Disable item rigid body simulation instead of just switching to kinematic and then dynamic. So this will be easy. And simulated equals to false because we already disabled the collider. So might as well just disable the entire thing. Equals to true. Equipped. All right. And this should work. I'm letting the player taking full control of its. Just another side notes. Letting a player send the position, velocity, and everything such like to the server. So basically, local instance has full control of its character. The reason I do that is there's some way to synchronize over network. One way is to like synchronizing the inputs and let the server does the thing, and then throw all the data back to the clients and tell where the players is and at each time instance. I think that could generate lag because what we'll be testing on the server that we set up in the future. So for a game I tested for the original Haven, the minimum lag I got latency I got over the local instance was 50 milliseconds. That's like local testing. That's not even over internet or something. That was 50 already. And I tried another a dedicated server that is published over AWS, and the server doesn't actually have anything going on. It's just like running the game, and the latency was already like 150 and 200 milliseconds, which is really bad. And if we're to synchronize the input, and it will, lag a lot. It just feels wrong when you press a button and your character moves like 0.2 seconds after. That's not good. All right, let's try this. Yeah, it works. We probably don't need to toss the item so far away. So it's just a way to like test the extreme, and it still doesn't look perfect, but it does its job for now. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Let's remove the bug we had earlier in our objective 2. There's no more bugs now. And try to push this before we before we remove the interpolation from charactering completely. Rigid body simulation sync bug fix. We did what to it? We reset rigid body velocity. And switch on and off item rigid body simulation when decrypted. I'll push. Hold on. Wait. Whatever. Okay. I'm currently connected to a VPN and currently not within the US and trying to use a VPN here in my country, China. Alright, it's pushed and now we can change whatever we want. So we're gonna synchronize both position, rotation, and velocity. In that case, we just dump the entire interpolation thing and make it snap to the target location. We could try to crank up the update rate in that case. The RB position will change straight up to move position to the target position. RB without using interpolation will simplify a lot of things actually. Set locate, is there like a set? No. We're just gonna change it in new velocity. Actually, we don't need a. Yeah, we don't need a new name for this. All right. RB move rotation to the target rotation. And this 2 will just be gone. We'll try to optimize the network, the bandwidth later on. But for now, I think that's it. Hold on a minute. I had a phone call. And let's keep on with this. We're pretty much done on the code. Let's see if it works. Um, I'm not sure about synchronizing just by sending the velocity and all the physics parameters over to synchronize player, because the movement of players is very unpredictable, unlike AI. You can't just tell the player where to go, but we'll see. Yeah, the object looks pretty nice, actually. I believe the interpolation is still to try to take its course. But most of it was fine. Yeah. It looks a lot smoother than the last time. Because last time when it's bounced off the wall, you don't see it bouncing off the wall. It just kind of like stay off the wall and it kind of interpolating to the next snapshot already, which is not perfect. Yeah. Let's check out the other player and see how this works over the player. Well, we see the player is movement is very janky, and that we're sure of. So we probably still need an interpolator on the player character. All right. Can't move it. I believe you need to send the angular velocity as well as the velocity. And that's why you see the object try to spin it. Okay, we'll do the angular velocity as well. Let's test this out. Whoa. Look at how fast I spin. Oh my god. What's going on? Why does it spin so much? I'm glad that we didn't skip a step here. Angular speed looks fine to me. Degree per second, I don't see problem with that. So you send the angular speed over, send the angular speed, send the angular speed. And pass over to angular speed. And why does it interesting? Is it the interpolator trying to do something? I don't think it should. But we will try to turn this off on the. I think it should. I think it's trying to interpolate it still. Let's find the interpolator and kill it. Was it ever used? Stop sync is enable syncing. It's very strange. What we're seeing here was it's moving so fast. The angular speed was clearly not synchronized. Did I build? Thinking. Yeah, we just finished the build. And let's see. No, the build version still function weirdly. Alright, let's make this a client and this a dedicated, so we can see the data that happens on the client. So dummy here is this objects, which we're gonna pick up. The rigid body has an angular velocity of 0. Right now it just turns to this. Oh, whoa, angular velocity just turned up so much. That's clearly not right. A rotation of 7,000. How does that happen? Also, why is the angular velocity like 1,000 ahead? That makes no sense. Let's go back to when you're sending the angular velocity. So the client sends the angular velocity, it's no problem. And announcing the angular velocity, it's no problem either. Move position angular set to the arguments and pass to the client set to argument as well. Only updates on non-player. Yeah, that makes sense. How come it doesn't work? That's very odd. If I don't synchronizing the angular velocity, then it wouldn't be a problem. This is strange. Let's try. The only causes I can think of is the interpolator doing something behind the scene. You see, like resetting the angular velocity, resetting a velocity. You get a gist. But since I'm not calling it, so I don't see why it will do that. So why don't we just disable? Because if we just disabled it, it won't update and it won't do anything particularly. Let's try to disable that. Node interpolation. I can connect, link the reason to interpolator, but I can't think of anything else that's doing this. This is a float. This is a float. How is that a problem? So right now we don't have interpolator. Yep, it doesn't change anything. Oh, hold on. Let's see this item. What is its angular velocity in real time? So 0. At maximum it was, wow, minus 1,000. I do have a theory though. You notice how if I drop it right here, it will basically be no angular velocity. Wow. Is there anything else that I'm not concerning? I do see the inertia. Not right. So if we don't do anything with the angular velocity, the bug just stopped, right? Let's see if there's any other line. Hold on, what are we doing? Yeah, let's try to rule out angular velocity for now, and the bug just goes away, doesn't it? It still happen, but not as much. The physics, at least, is working. The only thing I'm suspecting is that this inertia is changing. So I'm guessing that could be the thing. Since the inertia changes, or not this object, this one. Oh, hold on, 1 second. Right when we're sending the velocity, no, right when we do decrypt, no, it still shouldn't be though. Hmm. This is very strange. And we're noticing that it happens over the client too, over the player character as well. Let's check that out. See why it happens to a player. Oh, wait. Let's reset this. So we dedicated. We test this on the Unity editor. Okay, right now we have this. And as you can see, If that's the client, I mean the server, then it will try to do a lot of things. How is so? That's so. Okay, let's just look at. Right now, it doesn't have any rotation, and just magically generating all this angular velocity out of nowhere. How come when I send a snapshot and set the snapshot, it just won't snap to that position? Is the physics not deterministic? Because the map is the same, the level design is the same. It's just for walls. And if I set exact locations, if I send the exact locations, does it triggers the precision errors in floats, or what else could it be? Because I don't see any other reason. Because if I set all the snapshot over, and the physics condition should be exactly the same, no discrepancy. Unless there are other parameters that I didn't know about. Another thing I'm suspecting is when I drop the item. No, that's not only situations that it happens. Kind of running out of ideas. And what if I just stick with the reliable? I don't know why. Logically, we could just use unreliable sequenced and just get the most updated snapshot. But right now I'm just trying everything. Oh, it's just not even. Wait, why am I spinning? No, if I don't use uh, a reliable, why do I spin? I'm the one who controls the player. I shouldn't jank around. I don't understand. It just straight out not updating anymore. Did I not build it and tell it to update the channel? One second. Let's remove that loading ghost scene. Why does it generate this scene? I don't understand. Okay. So dedicated server, clients, connect already. It's not running anymore. That's really odd. No. Oh, wait. Oh, because I removed the entire line. I should have just. That was completely my mistakes. Maybe I need a break now. Okay, there we go. What? Come on. It still happens. Even if so I originally thought it would like causes some ordering issues. Maybe the channel I set wasn't correct, and causing the update ordering changing. Although I can make sense logically why that would affect it, but I'm just trying things. Yeah, so that's definitely not fixed. It's perhaps the way I said those being inappropriate. Like, I don't know. How about fix updates? I'm just like doing random theories now. Fix updates. Um, keep the delta time correct, as far as I remember. And perhaps that will has something to do with the correctness of angular velocity. Again, I'm just guessing things that doesn't necessarily make sense. But alright, let's try. If we don't try it, we probably, yeah. Nope, that's not a fix. Did you get updates at all? Because it seems like it's not keeping the updates I told it to. Alright, let's do one thing. So on the dedicated server, we debug. We just debug the angular velocity. Because we can tell other things go right, but this thing doesn't go right. This thing is so wrong. It looks like it's not even setting the angular velocity, it's just accessing. Because from this thing it says you can set it. So I'm assuming. Also, it doesn't give off any errors or warning. So supposedly, if you set it, it should just set it. But what we see on earlier in our test case, the server's angular velocity just going off its own. It doesn't listen to my snapshot at all. Server client. Alright, let's do this. Dedicated. And let's see the console output. So I'm telling it the angular velocity I tell it to set is never go over 100. But however, the angular velocity you see here always go off 1,000 or something. It's way off. See how it's like 1,000 between 1,000 and 2,000? While the server received only like 30. The thing I'm setting is the exact same thing, the angular velocity. For some reason, when I set it to, it becomes so high. It folds like 10 times over. Actually 100 times over. Let's read the documentation, perhaps. Unity, rigid body, angular velocity set. Oh wait, you could multiply the velocity and angular velocity would float between 0 and 1? What does that have to do with anything? Perhaps I should just zero it out. Just like remove the janky feeling. I kind of recall back in original Haven, I intentionally avoided synchronized angular velocity for some reason. And could that be a reason why I did that? Let's try this first, and it should remove the janking feeling. for any, we're not gonna synchronizing this anymore. It's just not working at all. Or could it be what it's saying? The angular velocity is flow between 0 and 1. Oh, that has nothing to do with let's keep it there. Why don't we? But not set it. This should remove the janky. Yep. Okay, you see the collisions here, which is nice. So the angular velocity, hold on. Did this try to set the, no, okay. About this, no. No, it's just side dots then. It says can cause undesirable result. Should not modify directly. Oh, alright. Guess we shouldn't touch it. How about add torque? What is torque measured off of? Really? Hmm. At 1 rad per second down the z-axis and set angular velocity to forward. The direction of the vector is the axis of rotation. Wait, no, that angular velocity is a scalar. How does it? Again, is one is scalar, the other is vector. How does it? Why does this work? Oh, it's talking about 3D. All right. Apply relative. Wait. Apply relative torque. This only applies to 3D. Apply. Add relative. Only relative force. That's no good. I'm gonna go back and reference my projects. Because I remember similar things I did before where I synchronized in AI's position and I avoided synchronizing the angular velocity. Does it happen here? Or does it happen elsewhere? Should I open up? Yeah, the project name is set to Raymond Shooter. But right. Yeah, this is for the AI. Maybe it's body generic. I can't tell. Focus, ignite. No. How do you synchronize position? We may want to go to the project instead. So you can take a look better. Oh, hold on. No, wait. For the AI I used before, that was not physically. Yeah, that was not whole. No. Interesting. Perhaps for the item we use, we could just use the interpolation instead. I don't know. Yeah, we probably shouldn't, because we player are not interacting with the item anyway, any shape or form. May as well just use a. We're not talking about touching the items by any means. In which case, it's probably better off just synchronize the transform. Also, another thing, in the future, we're not using a cube collider, we're using a circle, so I'm guessing angular velocity wouldn't be a problem in that case. Okay, now do we want to keep things consistent and having a movement network over everything, or simply let's remove these? Angular velocity, at least we're gonna keep it at 0, so it doesn't like don't send this, just send the velocity as perfect. I'm thinking maybe we should like, because for the weapon there still is non-circular collider. Non-circular collider. We will. Can we just do the angular interpolation, but remove the. I believe we can. Yeah, we just add a private serialized Boolean don't interpolate position false. Don't interpolate rotation false. And this need to be and rotation so we're still gonna have the interpolator, but in this case we only interpolated the rotation. Did we remove the thing? No, we didn't. Glad we didn't. Interpolate to rotation. Rotation. And remove all these. Oh. Because the interpolation, we just, does this apply to everyone, or does it apply to only one? I believe it's everyone, so let's do this. Interpolate put rotation. If it ever has to rotate, then we're gonna do this. The server side, it will have to interpolate to the rotations. It's gonna announce that to every client. If it's not, then we're gonna interpolate rotations regardless. So this will be a hybrid method. So for the precision of velocity, we're gonna just snap to the snapshot. But for rotation, we're gonna interpolate to position and velocity. Interpolate to rotation. And interpolate to position, interpolate to rotations. There's a server and this is client. Yeah, we didn't miss anything, I believe. Yeah, that should be it. And just in case, we set the flag to don't interpolate position. We're going to interpolate rotation. And the player will interpolate, but not the position as well. That should be working. If hopefully there's no bugs and for which we have to like run multiple builds. As we can see, the rotation is being synchronized. The position is probably still using a snapshot, which is fine. Looking nice. Let's try to do as much spin as possible and see if the rotation is working okay. Feel like it's still a little janky. But we're gonna leave it as is right here. That'll be for today's debug session for the objective 2. And let's clear out our bug list, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching.